Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the moment you have all been waiting for. Hong Kong ETFs. I'm 4th class Penny.
I'm 4th class Cox.
I'm 4th class Foster.
4th class Wheeler.
And why should you choose Hong Kong? First of all, it has consistent growth. Starting in the late 1990s, there has been consistent growth resulting in an economic boom. There's also free market economic policy, as well as global free port and financial hub. This is also an international trade platform between China and Hong Kong. There is free trade, free enterprise, free taxation, and a minimum government intervention policy.
This is a graph showing the GDP of Hong Kong and its projected future growth. And as you can see, the line increases to 2016, where it's projected to grow exponentially still. This is the growth rate graph, and although it's dipped into the negatives, most of the time it's staying in the positives, showing that it's still growing, even with recessions that are due to different business policies. Improving the GDP in the future, since it is dipping slightly at the moment, it's as a result of herd consumption. The government plans to increase future GDP by cutting personal and business taxes, increasing child allowances, and waiving license fees for hotels and restaurants.
So according to Bloomberg News, Hong Kong has predicted to overtake Japan as the #3 stock market in the world. This is due to a surge in Chinese demand that has caused $4.9 trillion of value in the Hong Kong equity. This just happened actually last week on April 8th and 9th. Chinese investors bought out the maximum daily allowance for stocks, which is worth $1.7 billion in the Hong Kong stock market. The Hong Kong Exchange and Clearing Limited Liability overtook the CME Group Inc., which is an American company, as the world's largest exchange by market value. The currency in Hong Kong has strengthened in value compared to Japan, as the yen has weakened 17% against the greenback, which is just another term for the American dollar, in the past 2 years. Forbes lists Hong Kong as the #2 best country, even though Hong Kong is not technically a country, it's listed by Forbes as #2 for business. The free market economy that is in Hong Kong is built on international trade and finance, and it is a founding member of the World Trade Organization. There's 0 tariffs on imports with the exception of tobacco and liquor, and it's ranked #4 in the world for the best highly skilled workforce. English is also very widely used in the business market, and there's it has a very entrepreneurial workforce environment. Also, Forbes has ranked Hong Kong #1 in trade freedom and #5 in technology. A significant event in Hong Kong was when it became a member of the European Free Trade Agreement in 2011, which Hong Kong is a part of, as well as Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. Hong Kong also has a very good innovation technology fund, which is basically a fund run by the government that has 4 basic programs, such as innovation technology support, general support, which underneath general support it has an internship program, and patent application grant. So this is for any companies that are coming up with new inventions and they need money for a patent. They can go to this fund and the government can give them grants, whatever, so they can have patents. They have a university and industry collaboration program underneath this fund, and a small entrepreneur research assistance program. This is showing the evolution of Hong Kong once it joined the European Free Trade Agreement. The red is exports and the blue is imports. So I can see the exports have always been greater than imports in Hong Kong, but when it joined this European Free Trade Agreement in 2011, it went up by a lot. From 2014 to 2015, the economy in Hong Kong has grown by 2.3%, and looking forward, the economy is expected to grow by 1.3% in just a year or two. Real GDP growth in Hong Kong is at 2.9%, and it has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the world, which we'll get to in a second. So over the past couple years, the employment rate has been decreasing. For example, it was 4.5% in January 2001. 10 years later, it was at a rate, 10 years later, it was at 3% in 2013. And it's been fluctuating, but on the decrease. This is just comparative around the world. Asia is doing better than America in general, but if we go on to look at Hong Kong's place among these countries, which we will see the next slide, we can see that it's substantially lower than the rest of Asia. Hong Kong's like right there, and it's at a rate of 3.4%, which is nearly half that of China, which is at 6.5%. And it has decreased unemployment rates in information and communications, construction, and superstructure. So Hong Kong is growing. It's like it's and technology. So the unemployment rates have been consistently low, and they are predicted to remain at a low rate of 3.5%, which was predicted by the Director of Labor and Welfare, Matthew Cheong.
Inflation rates of Hong Kong. As you can see, from the early 2000s, the inflation rate was negative, and now it is positive. But the key is that Hong Kong is steady, and it's a steady economy. So throughout its 25-year past, Hong Kong's inflation has steadied around 4%. So lower inflation is possible. As you can see by the graph of the curve, inflation is supposed to decrease. By 2050, they say Hong Kong's inflation should be around 3%, which is just where it should be for a growing country, and even one that is very developed. One of the key things to look about in Hong Kong is the Hong Kong dollar versus the American dollar. And it's actually the Hong Kong Monetary Authority's goal to stabilize the Hong Kong dollar at around 7.8 Hong Kong dollars for one US dollar. And as you can see over the past history, they've pretty much maintained this, which means that their inflation rate has steadied along the US's. So any anomalies that you may see in Hong Kong's inflation rate throughout history or may predict in the future, knowing the Hong Kong Monetary Authority's policy, they should stabilize it back down to where the US dollar is.
So choose us. We have a hopeful GDP expectation. There is an inflation rate that's supposed to decrease to 3% over the next couple of years, and the 3.4 unemployment rate is very low. So we have a lot of good things going for us, and we hope to see you soon. It's done. It's done.